All right, welcome to the Real Moment. I'm Greg Blythe, and today we have another edition of Whetstone Wars. I'm very excited today because we're bringing up some names we haven't heard in a while. Today's battle is Battle 1000, and we have the King. We're doing the Hyper King this time. The Hyper King 1000 versus the Morihei 1000. So some things to know about these particular stones. The Hyper King itself is a soaking stone. So before we got this video started, the Hyper King stone itself has actually been soaking for 15 minutes per recommended by the manufacturer. Okay? And today, since it's fresh out of the box, we're going to be leveling this stone just to make sure it's good. Something to let you know about the Morihei stone. Instead of it being a true 100% synthetic stone, it's actually got a lot of natural stone in it. Trying to make an adjustment here on that. There you go. So the Morihei stone is a true splash and go. So it is ready to go. We have used this before in battles. We'll definitely make sure. What is that? You show me that one too? Sure. I don't have all the original logos that were on the front. This company is a company that I absolutely love. And I have not used the Hyper King. So I really do not know what to expect the Hyper King. I know the people who are King fanatics are just crazy about it. So let's get into the tail of the tape on the sizes and prices of these stones. Okay, so the Morihei stone, which is over here, it's going to be the wider of the two stones. This is a 210 millimeter wide versus a 205 millimeter wide. Now, this one is going to be, excuse me, I said that wrong. 210 millimeter long versus 205 millimeter long. Okay, so it's a little longer. Okay, but it's 75 millimeter wide versus 70 millimeter wide. So it's a little wider. Okay, but you can already tell before I even give you the stats. The King is going to hit you with that 34 millimeter thickness. And over here you got the 25 millimeter thickness. So technically, the King should last you longer, but it depends on the dish rate, and all stones dish differently. Obviously, I haven't had it to know how fast it dishes, but you definitely get significantly more stone. I mean, you get like 9 millimeters more stone, as well as a price difference. Okay, because we have a $78 Morihei, again paying for a little bit of that natural stone mixed in there, versus the 100% synthetic stone is going to come in at $60. And I'm sure some places on Amazon, some of that you might even see it cheaper, but really we have like an $18 price difference. We have a 9 millimeter thickness. The 9 millimeter, though, I've got to say is offset by the width. I mean, for the mass, you're actually getting the mass back in like a different direction. Okay, so this is a Battle 1000, which means we're going to dull two knives. We have two 210 millimeter knives by Morihei that were donated to us, sponsored to us by Tokushu Knife. As always, we appreciate Tony and Tokushu. So these two knives have always been used in these battles. They are currently sharp. We're going to dull them both today. The way that this battle works is when we're sharpening the knives, this isn't a polishing session. This is a sharpening session, okay? So we're going to sharpen just on the stone. We're not here to see what leather can do and what diamond emulsion can do and CBN sprays and things like that. We're here to see what the stone itself can do. So we're going to do all of our sharpening on one stone, do some edge leading strokes, drop on the stone, and that's it. What did they do? All right, so we're going to go ahead and we will fast forward for this and just entertain you with a little music. But okay, so now we need to make sure that they're actually dull. I kept hitting the same point, so. This one's got it. We need a little dollar over here. There you go. All right, so we have 2 dull knives. Let's get into it. Yeah, so earlier, before the actual shooting, we went ahead and flattened the stones. You can see it's pretty flat right out of the company. So we've already got this one soaking. This is splash and go. So let's just go ahead and keep this one wet. Keep it happy. All right. This is not a sharpening video. This is not about technique. This is about getting the knife sharp. We like to listen to the stone. Got a nice slurry built up really fast.
Sound?
Got a nice sound to it. It's a little louder than some of the other 1000s. I kind of like it. I feel like it's doing something.
Like you could tell there's something to it, but it still has a smoothness to it with grit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like, and for those of you who want to know why my wife isn't mic'd up yet, I would like her to have a microphone. She's been a little bit shy, but we do know that she brings a valid opinion. She's been doing this a while.
There might be no going back, folks.
So I mean, we're going to look into making that purchase so you can hear all the commentary that my wife is. Nice. Honestly, the first thing I noticed was it's like a micro burr. It's not super aggressive. It is there. What I like about that, it means is it's not taking like a tremendous amount of steel off the knife. Your knife will last longer. We do have another video that's going to be coming up. We're going to be sharpening these 2 knives on 2 1000 grit stones and going through a series of stones. And we're going to, one knife we're going to deburr after every stone. The other knife we're not going to deburr after every stone. And we're going to see if it makes a difference. So my wife is making a comment about the slurry, but it doesn't seem to have loaded.
Okay.
So the stone isn't clogged up and stopped cutting. Okay, so we have our burr on each side. We're doing edge leading strokes for burr removal. So for those of you who don't know what it means, the edge it's what's pushing into the stone. Before the edge was trailing, the spine was pushing, like the force was behind the spine as the spine was going away. We're actually pushing the edge into the stone. We're not trying to cut the stone, but the stone is removing any stray metal. So this is just a really good way to kind of get a lot of those teeth that would have been dangling off the edge. And then we're going to strop on the stone. Okay, so at first I had a little bit more force. Now I'm going very lightweight. You can see, I'm gonna let my wife get close. You can literally see the little metal like particles that have been coming off the edge. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now the stropping technique is the edge is trailing, and I am just letting, we're talking ridiculously lightweight. I'm letting the knife just sit on the stone. And it's just, we're just trying to align the edge. I just have a funny feeling this is going to be a really sharp knife just on one stone, one 1000 grit stone, no leather, no follow-up. I just feel good. I think it's because of the texture that I'm feeling coming off the stone.
Yeah, I feel like the sound makes me think that.
We got a dog tripping through on wires coming through here. Okay, so that knife is done, ready to go. I could see like some shine on the edge of that knife actually, so that made me feel good. So this one is a splash and go. So we splashed and we're going. You can already tell there's a big difference in the sound.
Sounds dry.
This stone is hard.
Okay.
This stone is glassy. This stone has, I mean, it feels like tile that would be on your floor.
Yeah, it didn't sound glassy at first to me, but
There is,
I'm not sharp.
I mean, there is just such a difference in how hard this stone is. And what's funny is, I would probably normally tell you that the Morihei are softer stones because of the natural stone powder that's mixed in them. I will tell you that I got the burr faster. I don't know who that's important to. My wife can also focus on the fact that there's like no load. There's no mud.
Like there's nothing. Like hardly anything. I was trying to see if I could get a mark. Like there's a couple little marks, but.
Okay. I would actually say that the burr on this is a little bit more aggressive.
A little bigger.
A little more noticeable. So again, not what I would have thought. Okay, so we need to finish up, follow up, right? So we need edge leading strokes. I mean, super hard. This stone is super hard.
So is that going to lend to the fact that it's going to dish less, wear slower?
Okay, so for those of you, if you can't hear, my wife is asking, is the hardness going to help it to dish less? I would say yes. I would say absolutely yes. It's funny because it felt glassier, but yet cut faster. It's harder, so it should last longer. Two completely different beasts when it comes to the stones. Okay, so we need to start easing up our strokes. Again, you're not really seeing the slurry. My wife's up here to show you there's you know, it's not like what you saw on the King.
No, not at all.
So super lightweight right now, edge leading. Okay, so now let's start the stropping process. So now we're going to go edge trailing. I did some one-handed over there, so let's just be fair and give both of them the one-handed strop technique a little bit. Okay. Now we can do some two-handed. Sounds like there's just a little load dragging. Okay, so we got a little mud coming off of there. You can see that barely, I mean, compared to 2, go ahead and look at the 2 and you can see. And so again, think about how odd it is. This, I felt, took less metal with a micro burr, but yet there's obviously more debris, stone and metal mix on here. This one was harder, made of some natural stone. It seems to have less on there, but it was more aggressive. So, so all of that felt very odd. Okay. Now we listen. So fresh piece of paper. The regular Joe champion. It's been around for a long time. The Hyper King. So we like to listen. There was a little snag there, but let's not blame the stone as much as maybe my technique.
It's decent sounding.
Yeah. I found there's a little like knot cutting right there, and then it kind of catches later.
Yeah, the heel.
And I'll get a paper towel from my wife just to do it, just to see. I don't want to blame the heel on the stone if it's user error. Like maybe I didn't do a good enough job myself. So, but let's see if the edge we got is with the 1K is paper towel worthy. We have seen 200 do paper towel. We have seen 2,000 do paper towel. Let's see if we've got some paper towel. And we have got no paper towel.
Straight there.
Yeah. So so the 1,000 Hyper King did not do that. Sure, I got a good piece of paper. The Morihei 1000. We're listening. I mean, you know, if you guys have been watching the show, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see.
You can hear it.
We can go ahead and get the paper towel and just know.
Hold on, I'm busy
Yeah.
filming.
Yeah.
I'm busy
So the Morihei, you know, it's Morihei company. Their goal was to actual Japanese natural stone with a synthetic stone.
Yep.
So the champion this week is obviously the Morihei 1000. So can you get a knife sharp with this? Yes. We did great technique, same technique on both stones. The Morihei took it to the next level. It's $18 more for that next level. You might get more stone, but at what price?
But the speed of that one too.
The speed, the hardness, everything's going to be great for polishing. So anyway, the blue collar versus a little bit more white collar won today. Morihei, nice to see you show up. Morihei's got to go up against some of the big dogs later, the Sahiros, the Shapton, the Naniwa, so on and so forth. So it'll be interesting to see. This was a great Whetstone War. I really didn't know what to expect. Never used the Hyper King. Glad to see Morihei step up their game. Stay tuned for more Whetstone Wars. I'll put a link for other Whetstone Wars in our series. We appreciate your support. I know that was definitely not a dull moment. Good night.